As you know, close to 600 people have been evacuated from Sumas Prairie. At the last update, we had approximately 300 people who have utilized supports through the TradeX ESS, and we expect approximately 60 people will be staying the night tonight. We know this is a very stressful time for these people, and we are very grateful to everyone who has reached out through the donation links on our website. The situation remains critical here in Abbotsford, and we understand that people are desperate to get home to their property and to their livestock. Like with all emergencies, it is vitally important for people to heed the advice of our emergency officials and follow the restrictions, well actually it's not restrictions, it's the orders that are in place, in order to ensure that safety and the safety of our first responders. And we want to share an image with you today to help demonstrate the magnitude of this emergency situation. So let me go over here, and hopefully this works. It does, good. So just for context, this is Sumas Prairie. Sumas Mountain over here, Riverside Highway 11 over here, the US border here, the boundary between Chilliwack and Abbotsford is there. This is 90 square meters, or square kilometers. That is the size of the city of Burnaby, just to give you some context. This represents only 25% of Abbotsford. The other 75% is over here. Okay, no audio from the beginning? Test, how's that? So, do you want me to, do I have to start over or carry on? I probably need to do the whole thing. Why don't you start over? So for context, this is the US border, down here, the border between Chilliwack and ourselves, Sumas Mountain over here, and of course Vetter Mountain is along here as well. So this represents Sumas Prairie. That is 90 square kilometers. That is the size of the city of Burnaby, just so you have some understanding of how big this area is. The other 75% of Abbotsford is over to my and behind me. So we're just dealing with this. 2/3 of this 90 square kilometers is what was once a lake, right here. 2/3 of it, 60 square kilometers. Reference, this is the Sumas Canal. This was all built by the Army Corps of Engineers 100 years ago. Up here we have Barrowtown and the floodgates over here. Highway 1 running through here. And the Sumas River winds its way through here and stays on the north side of this dike. Runs all the way up here to the floodgates, which is right there, which are currently closed. This lake bottom, the old lake bottom, and any water that enters this area, and these pumps go pretty much 9-10 months of the year, pump the water out of here so that the lake doesn't come back. And that happens at the pump station, which is pumping the water into Sumas Lake on this side. So what has happened is we've had a number of breaches, and the first one was right here, so the dikes have been broken. The second one is over here, and just to give you context, that is 100 meters wide, so 330 feet wide. The water and the water is still coming in. I was just out there with Chief Sear this afternoon. The water's still coming across the border, comes into here, runs over here, because this is physics, this is just gravity. When it gets to here, it's now coming across the freeway and into the lake. And when I shared a few days ago about, think of this as a cup or a bowl, I can't remember which one, that's the bowl I was talking about. This photo was taken yesterday. That lake is filling. And it's coming in here and here, which relieved the pressure here. So when the farmers are on the ground here, they think that maybe, well, I don't know, I shouldn't say they think, but people who now see dry roads here think that this event is over. This event is not over. These two breaches relieved the pressure here and is now filling what the lake that was here 100 years ago. It should be draining at any point from here this way to this canal and would run back out. That can't happen right now. And we already know that so what you're seeing here is the silty water. And you can see that down here there are spaces of green grass, green fields. So people who only see their own property have no idea what's going on around them. This lake is expanding and is moving from west to east. At some point, we're going to get right over here and cross into Chilliwack because there's no dike here. We have to stop this water. The Army Army is here. The military is here. We're going to start working to clean or fix this breach. We have to do that. We have to stop the water from coming all the way here, that's still coming in, from emptying into this bowl. And so that is the first order of business. Tomorrow morning, we're going to build a levee here. There's two high points somewhere here. I don't know exactly where they are. Peter, can you point out where they are roughly? Right, okay. From there to there. We're going to construct that to stop the water from going across the freeway. And I hope we don't get a lot more rain, because as long as this water comes in, these pumps cannot handle what's coming in. They can pump 500,000 gallons a minute, but that is nowhere near enough to empty this lake. The other thing that I want everybody to be aware of is that there is now a 2-foot differential between the Fraser and Sumas River at the floodgates. So the river is still a foot higher than Sumas. We cannot open those floodgates until we have a differential of 2 feet, which means the Fraser's got to drop 2 feet before we can open this up. Otherwise, we haven't accomplished anything. It'll be equalized. And at some points where these breaches are, it is equalizing. We can see that on the roads. But the water is rising. I already was alerted by farmers in this area that the water rose here 6 inches overnight and is continuing to travel east. So that is at a high level of what is taking place on this this old lake bottom. This event is not over by any means, and I am concerned about the rain event that is coming, another 80 to 100 millimeters beginning on Tuesday. We have to finish this work like yesterday to stop all of this happening. As long as if we can keep this here, the water that's coming in behind these two dikes, once they're repaired, to channel it over here to the floodgates, the pumps will be able to handle what's here. But the pumps to take out the water that's currently in there is going to be a while. We don't have any of that technical information at this point, but we will have it shortly. Our engineers have been working on this almost day and night. So that is the message today. I hope this contextualizes so that everyone understands what's going on out there. And I just want to implore the farmers, just because you saw water drop doesn't mean it's safe to go in there. The water is rising over here. And the lake bottom is somewhere in this part of the world. But when this fills up, there's going to be 15, 20 feet of water. There's already barns, it's up to the top of it's approaching the top of the roof. People can't see that because they themselves can't get in there, but we can see it from aerial reconnaissance. And the chief and I drove through here, and yes, there's a lot of roads that are dry, but there is washed out shoulders happening in lots of different places. We cannot let people in here until those assessments have been made, so there's a plan in place to start that tomorrow morning. So I'll stop there and we'll open it up for questions. I'll maybe let our city manager answer that. I have a rough idea, but oh, he has one there. Oh.
Yeah, thank you. Testing, does mic work? Just so we are in discussions with the military regarding and the Army regarding their efforts. They're assessing their efforts right now in terms of where they can best be utilized. We are looking at utilizing a variety of contractors to assist us with creation of this levee. They may be part of that assistance as part of those efforts to address that breach in the dike. And we're having other conversations with them to see what additional opportunities there are for them to get involved. But we are utilizing other resources, contractors to take a look at the Cole Road breach that has occurred here, to have that also repaired, in addition to, as the mayor alluded to, that larger breach at the dike, Sumas Dike, off of just south of number 3 Road.
How are you supposed to get something of this magnitude done where you're not able to move equipment in, roads are blocked, areas are flooded?
The contractors will be able to get in there. No one else will be able to, but and there'll be lots of safety things that we are looking at as they do that, but we are sourcing contractors that have been in discussion. You're going to see mobilization there tomorrow.
And what's the greatest challenge at this point?
Time. But we think, well, do we know roughly how long it's going to take to put that levee in?
You know, at this point in time, as the mayor alluded to, it's time is what our biggest challenge is in, and we're going to look at how we resource the equipment, the levees that are needed to be able to put in place as quickly as we can. So we're going to have more information about that later, but at this point in time, those are where we're going to be directing our efforts for tomorrow.
To build that levee, you're going to need to take property. How much land, how many homes will be lost as part of that?
We haven't discussed any of that with any of the property owners, but there will be need to talk to property owners. The province will be doing that, and MOTI will be involved because that is a provincial, or that's our number 1 highway. So that part, our staff will be working with EMBC and many other partner organizations, but all of that is in motion already.
I understand it's hard to give a time frame on these things. Can you give us a sense of how big the levee that you have to build is? So maybe we can imagine a bit how complicated, how complex this task is.
Peter?
Yeah, thank you. The levee the dike that's broken right now, the 100 meters, it's approximately 100 meters long by 2 to 3 meters high, and you can imagine the top is about 3 meters wide, and it's a prism at a 2-to-1 slope. But what we're going to be looking at doing is creating a levee where the high point is, to bring in some blocks to help contain the water, and then look at utilizing part of the highway system itself, because it's high ground there, and the water isn't necessarily up to the top, that we can create a levee, and it's going to be approximately 2.5 kilometers in length. That's what we know to date, so it'll take a little bit of time to build it, but our goal is to get it in there as quickly as we can. And we'll see the type of progress that we're making tomorrow as we have the equipment, the blocks, and the materials to start getting that breach contained.
And we'll probably also add some sandbagging at Barrowtown, but that's a secondary project. But this has to be done until this is blocked. First, that hole is filled in the breach, and the levee is built. The water continues to pour into Sumas Prairie, and the level is coming up from the east now, coming back to the west.
And if I may just add to the mayor's commentary, is that, as you know, this aerial photograph was taken yesterday at about 10 a.m. So 24 hours and plus has transpired. So if you were to take a look at it today, you would see the silted area has continued to migrate northeasterly and working its way towards the tip of where Barrowtown is. So this is continually moving and expanding.
Yeah, and I had a few texts early this morning already at 5 or 6 a.m. From farmers in that area. Said yesterday it was dry, now we have 6 inches of water running across the road. So I knew right away, okay, we got big problems. And anyways, that's the current situation.
Mayor Ron, we were in that area today, and I mean, there was no mention from any of the residents that we spoke to that they're aware of this happening where they may lose their homes in order to build this, what you're saying is necessary. Is this gonna come as a surprise to them when they're watching this news conference, or have these discussions already happened?
I don't believe we've had any discussions with the property owners. This information is like 60 minutes old in preparation of this. We have a plan. We now have to execute, and if they haven't already been contacted, they will shortly, because that has to happen.
And if I may just add to the mayor's comment, we did have a conversation with one of the property owners where we need to access through, and we'll be continuing those dialogues, whether it's later today, early tomorrow morning, and how we manage this installation of this levee as quickly and as possible. It's for the benefit of the entire community to manage this situation. It's necessary to be able to have the highway opened again. You know that highway carries anywhere between 80,000 to 90,000 vehicular trips a day. Getting highway number 1, which is a federal, provincial, regional, and city transportation corridor, is integrally important for the movements of goods, services, and people. We need to get that roadway opened and to get that levee addressed as quickly as possible.
This is a large chunk. You're talking 2.5 kilometers in length. How many homes potentially are affected here? How many homeowners potentially may lose their houses as a result of this?
Yeah. So the levee itself is going to be built along the high point and along the highway itself to be able to manage the water that's coming in from the Sumas River.
So how many homes are we talking about?
That number I don't have immediately in front of me, but you can have a look at that on the map a little bit later if you wish to be able to get those direct numbers.
But is that, I mean, you must have some idea if a plan is already in place to move in this direction. Are we talking dozens of homes?
So I'd have to get our engineers to be able to give those level of details. At this point, we're giving a high-level overview of what we're planning to do over the next day or so.
I don't think it's more than a dozen, if you're looking for a number, but that's just based on my apologies. I forgot to shut this off before I came up here. So it would be, I think, between 6 and 12. Because I sense you're looking for a number, so I don't want somebody to think there's 50 houses there. One house is too much. And if it was my house, I'd be concerned too. But there is not many options here.